and prepare to report about the most interesting developments and inventions that are already changing our world today.
It's hard to deny how far 3D printing has come.
Want to see what the future will look like in the next decade?
The world's first artificial womb facility, powered entirely by renewable energy.
Well, you are about to. Let's dive into the future. Number 1, the Forever Young pill. Scientists are working hard to keep people forever young. The mystery of how to pull this off has always baffled the researchers, but it seems like they have finally cracked the code. This new technology was tested on mice that had glaucoma. Not only did it keep the mice young, but it also healed its eyes in a jiffy. But how does it work? Well, to make the extremely complicated procedure simple, they have been playing with genes. By turning a few genes on and off, they have managed to somewhat restrict aging in mice.
And these ones have been aged so that they're 70 years old. And we can measure their activity, and their brain activity is slowing down as they get older.
The idea will soon shift to humans after getting the green light from the FDA. Like and subscribe right now, and you'll have amazing luck for the rest of the week. But here's where it gets interesting. Doctors believe that the technology will become pretty common soon, and the world might even see a new anti-aging pill in the near future. At least, that's the goal. Can you imagine popping pills to stay young? Number 2, the smart contact lens. Imagine getting a lens fitted into your eyes that can give you a taste of augmented reality. This idea isn't a mere figment of your imagination anymore. We all are finally closer to living our sci-fi dream. This lens offers an interactive display that's about to break the internet. It features motion tracking with a small field view that updates as you move your eyes.
We can say the same thing about the wireless radio. We can say the same thing about eye tracking. These are individual pieces of technology that is very unique to us.
From keeping track of your own health to knowing more about your surroundings, it offers the perfect punch of features. For now, it is only a smart lens. The idea of eye tracking is definitely intriguing, but it isn't quite where we want it. In a few years, it might become something more. Are you excited or scared? Number 3, catapulting satellites into space. Spin Launch has sent shockwaves around the internet with its new announcement. It claims that it has a pretty interesting way to launch satellites into space. They are calling the new device a catapult that will send the smaller satellites into the lower orbit of Earth. The catapult isn't how you're imagining it, though. The device is a giant disc with a 180 feet long rotating arm. The company claims that the catapult can work at a speed of 5,000 miles per hour to throw 440-pound satellites into space.
Spin Launch created a massive vacuum chamber around its tether.
This will send the tiny vehicle at 6 times the speed of sound, rushing into the air. Here's the interesting bit. It does not work on fuel. With a little help from our friend, the electricity, it can work in a much cleaner way than the conventional methods. This means less space debris and less amount of space fuel used. The technology is still in the works, but we can expect it to be out soon. Number 4, the shadow robot. People aren't scared of fully functional humanoid robots. They are more scared of how a robot perfectly manages to mimic the human body. This shadow robot isn't any different. It isn't a robot with 4 limbs. Instead, it is a simple hand robot that has the dexterity and the looks of an actual human hand. Researchers wanted to give the robot the appearance of a human hand while still allowing it the degree of freedom a robot should have. Let's just say they managed to pull it off. The shadow robot can withstand 8 newtons of force on each fingertip and can move up to 180 degrees, just like human fingers. But there's one difference. The robot can be dismembered and be put back again. The company knew the robot could break, so they decided to use it to their advantage. Each finger can be swapped for a quick repair. The company is aiming to replace the 5-fingered robot with a 3-fingered hand robot. They claim that it will be much better in design and movement. What do you think? Which one would you prefer? Number 5. The solar-powered car. This tiny buggy might just be the car you see everywhere in a few years. With a solar panel attached to its roof, it will be directly powered by solar energy. On average, the car can run up to 13.6 miles. If that doesn't sound a lot, you'll need to wait for the extra sunny days. Then, the vehicle might give you a total travel time of 19 miles. But there is a backup for the rainy days too.
Rear-wheel drive, this vehicle, we've got two little 2-kilowatt motors powering each rear wheel, and then back here, just under this lid, I'm not allowed to show you this, but there are removable, swappable battery packs.
A battery pack consisting of 4 swappable batteries is there to help you on small road trips. You can easily charge on the go whenever the need arises. With an average of nearly 60 miles, you can count on the battery pack with ease. This tiny prototype will soon see the light of the day, running on roads. It will be followed by a bigger vehicle and then a fleet much sooner. Would you take this out for a ride? Number 6, the human brain, Replica. While you were busy fantasizing about robots, scientists have managed to up their own game. They recently created a human brain in the lab. I'll give you time to process that because it keeps getting creepy. This human brain was designed to be connected to a computer. What's spooky is that it turned out to be completely functional. It could solve complex equations and even hear voices. While it looks exactly like a human brain, there are a few glitches that the researchers are trying to fix.
Have successfully grown a living human brain that can be connected to a computer.
They want to make it more complex, more human-like. So, it isn't connected to a robot yet, but researchers think that it might be possible in the next 10 years. Would you want to see a robot with an actual working human brain? Number 7. The Dragon Drones. A new entry into the military tech has caused everyone to close the topic of wars. Introduced by Ukraine, this brutal device can wipe out populations without so much as looking back at the carcass. What they've called the device is scary enough. The Dragon drones are ready to rain terror on countries. It is not explosive, but the damage that it can do makes it 10 times more dangerous.
And then moved on to ground robotic systems. According to him, this drone is very resilient. It can work for up to 6 hours without a break, traveling.
Experts claim that it can generate heat from extreme temperatures that humans definitely won't be able to bear. Reaching a scorching temperature of 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit, it can burn through anything. I do mean anything. From clothing and trees to military-grade vehicles, this device won't have mercy on anyone. But the train of horror doesn't end there. Experts think this device can work underwater too. Can you imagine a sea on fire? With this device, you can. Number 8. Eskin that can send hugs. Do you want to send a hug to your long-distance friends? With this device, now you can. No, it isn't a lame virtual hug. The scientists knew sending those virtual hug texts wasn't helping anyone. So, they came up with a tiny device called the Eskin. It looks nothing like the human skin, but it will hit you right in the feels.
Are heavily invested in researching the possibilities of what it is capable of continuing to update frequently.
It can send a hug from you to your loved one whenever you miss them. Here's how it works. You touch the small device whenever you want to send a hug. On the other end, your friend will feel a notable vibration on their hand. The sensation will travel hundreds and thousands of miles, helping your friend in need. Would you buy this for your friends? Number 9. The supersonic plane. The promise of space travel has been looming in the air for a long time. But there's something that will catch your attention right now. There are many companies working on supersonic travel, trying to beat each other to the win. But NASA has conquered them all, launching the first ever supersonic plane into the air only recently. They have only been half successful at their attempt. The blazing speed is there.
It was supposed to be the apex of future travel, but so far, reality has dictated the outcome.
But it comes with a booming noise tagged along. But it isn't as bad as it seems. The noise is like a car door slamming 20 feet away. The aircraft's first test run gave a glimpse into the near future. It is expected to be out in the air commercially in a few years. Would you want to travel from New York to London in 90 minutes? That's what the companies are marketing. Let's see if it happens like that. Number 10. 3D printed food to the rescue. You can say goodbye to cooking food and washing dishes. 3D printed food is here to make your days easier. 3D printing has taken the world by storm. From building prosthetics and organs to building tools for industries, there is a lot being done through this technology.
3D printer. The process seems weird at first because we are so used to eating food that was made by ourselves or other people.
But there is a whole avenue waiting to be explored. It is one you'd never think was possible: printing food. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is it even edible? Oh, it is very much fit to be eaten. But there's more that you can do with it. You don't like olives on pizza? Let the printer handle that. You want your burger to have no oil? Consider it done. Obviously, there are drawbacks too. It is still processed food, but people aren't too worried about that. What do you think? Number 11. Artificial neurons. Scientists do not need to do a brain transplant. They have sidetracked towards designing a device that can mimic the brain's activity. The artificial silicon neurons are like tiny brain chips. They can act exactly like neurons. Here's why it is interesting. Consider a pacemaker. It only regulates the flow of the heart, forcing it to pump when needed. But with the artificial neuron, the pacemaker can work in real time, meeting all of the heart's needs, just like the brain would function for a healthy heart. Not only that, but it can also help patients fight the neurological disorders that were too hard to treat and diagnose. The idea is still in the works, but the way we're going, it is bound to take effect soon. Number 12. The robot professor. The future of teaching is going to change, and you're probably not going to like it. A Japanese professor decided to give a little taste of science to his students. He created an exact replica of himself in the form of a robot and sent it to the lecture hall. His students were fascinated, to say the least. It doesn't help that the robot looks like an actual human and is probably the best-looking robot out there, don't you think? But here's where it gets interesting. Number 13. The smart mirror. Mirror, mirror, who's the most beautiful of them all? Have you ever tried to recreate that scene? You don't have to anymore. This device is here to do it for you. The B-Mind is expected to be the world's first AI-powered smart mirror. It is like a chatbot that has come alive. From sensing your mood to tracking your stress levels, the smart mirror will be the health companion you need.
Can recreate your balance and posture seamlessly. And if something wrong with you while you are using this mirror,
in your daily routine, the idea behind the technology is to help people go to work less anxious. It will give personal recommendations whenever you're thinking out loud. Maybe those mirror talks will finally come into some use. What do you think about this? Number 14. The much-awaited flying cars. This futuristic vehicle is none other than a flying car that is expected to hit the market soon. As if the hype for flying cars wasn't enough, the company has announced some interesting features to the public. The car will have a top speed of 120 miles per hour. It can give you a travel time of 45 minutes up in the air. Then, you'd have to charge the bad boy up for at least 25 minutes. Once that's done, you can take it up in the air again. It doesn't sound a lot, but it is definitely a start. What's interesting is that its interior is just as futuristic as its exterior. The company has kept it all minimal, providing a simple joystick to make you feel closer to flying an actual aircraft.
1 kilometer in the air is pretty scary. I think a lot of people are going to get a bit intimidated when these flying cars start becoming the norm.
There's also the intelligent navigation system, anti-collision sensors, and a space-looking design. But this isn't the only flying car out there. Companies are scrambling to get one out in the market. One flying car was from Europe that could transform from a land vehicle to an aircraft in a matter of only 2 minutes. Now, that's getting the whole package, isn't it? All in all, we are pretty close to seeing one in the air. But here's a question that might intrigue you. What do you want to see in the air more? supersonic airplanes, or flying cars. Number 15. Self-healing bricks. Scientists are working on something bizarre. You might not think anyone would need it at first, but if you take a closer look, you'll see the potential for this technology. Concrete has this weakness. It can crack and lay a terrible fate for the foundation of the building. Researchers probably found that flaw and decided to do something about it. So, they created this self-healing concrete that can repair itself and fix all of the pending cracks. Tests were done, and they found out that the bricks took a minimum of 60 days to heal. They were left astonished by their own work.
Concrete is a very hostile environment, and the bacteria which fit the bill can survive in this hostile environment of high alkaline pH and produce limestone at the same time.
It was remarkable, to say the least. Now, there are a lot of different methods in the works. Some are using bacteria and fungi to get the job done, while others are focusing on using other conventional methods. The one with bacteria seems to be raising the bar quite high. Would you invest in something like this? Number 16. Smart home. Smart home is already a well-established thing today. You have Alexa to help you out with the most basic of things around the house. But did you ever wonder what a smart home of the next decade would look like? You're probably thinking, what else could happen that hasn't already happened? But here's the thing. The future of smart homes is much brighter. Imagine waking up to your alarm and your coffee is already made. How? Well, the alarm communicated your need for the coffee maker so that you wouldn't have to do it in the morning. There's more. The intelligent system around the house will monitor all the problems. There's a leak in the plumbing. The smart system will tell you in advance. There is an unwanted intruder lurking too close to your house. Let the smart system handle the guy. You want to customize the look of your house? Control the temperature, lighting, humidity, and much more with a few clicks. You want to cook a meal and don't know the recipe? The smart fridge will grab the ingredients and the recipe. It might just order the missing items too. The possibilities are endless, and I've barely scratched the surface. What are you the most excited about? Number 17. The attention correction feature. iOS is often found working on the strangest features. This one's just plain creepy. The attention correction feature makes it easier to fake it with people. If you are on FaceTime with someone, this feature will correct your gaze to make it look like you're staring directly at the camera. So, even if you look away, the feature will be there to fake the intimacy for you. Now, people are quite reluctant to adapt this feature to their phones. Some think that it would help them get closer to their loved ones, but others think that it is scary, opening up more chances for a terrible relationship to start. Which side are you on, and why? Apple has only released the feature as a beta test. It isn't likely that they would roll it out for everyone, considering the lesser demand, but who knows, maybe the future has room for features like this. Number 18. Invisibility Cloak. You've heard about Harry Potter's Invisibility Cloak. Did you ever think it would turn out to be real someday? If you ever wish it that, scientists heard you. They have managed to design a cloak that hides the whole body behind it, like a curtain. But there's a problem. It does not blend well with the surroundings, making it fairly easy to figure out that somebody is using the cloak.
But Chinese researchers are diligently working on creating devices that can scatter and bend light.
It isn't all good news, but it is definitely incredible. Plus, there are reports that the Chinese army is working on using these cloaks for defense in the near future. It might or might not be true, but using this technology in military applications would be purely chaotic. It isn't going to end well for anybody. What would you do if you got your hands on this cloak? Number 19. Mind and Google. You might think this is the future, but it is not. It is the present, and the future is much scarier than this. This guy managed to connect his brain with Google. You can ask him any question, be it hard or not, and he will fetch the answer from the search engine directly. There is no need to open the phone. You can do it all with your brain, as if you're talking to yourself, but silently. But wait, I don't think you are getting a grasp of what's going on here. Let me break it down. This guy played chess with a computer. He managed to beat the computer by silently receiving responses from Google on how the computer would play. These silent responses go unnoticed by the person standing in front of you. Number 20, the digital avatars. Soon enough, this physical world will be of no use. There are already gadgets and technology available that are slowly shifting people towards a virtual world. A technology called the digital twins has started surfacing the internet.
This is Violet. She is a fully rigged avatar with some basic animation.
It involves creating a replica of you or your loved one in the virtual world. What's surprising is that the very minute details of the avatar will make it hard for people to differentiate between the two. The question is, would someday we come to regret it? Number 21, cybersecurity hacks. Experts have always predicted that cybersecurity hacks will be on the rise pretty soon. It seems like that era has already begun. Recently, Lebanon saw a terrible cybersecurity attack. People were in the office with their pagers and walkie-talkies in hand. Suddenly, the place started to sound like an explosion of explosions. Apparently, enemy hackers had sneaked into the pagers and the walkie-talkies. What happened next was a series of explosions.
2 humans suspected of stealing around $230 million worth of crypto were arrested by the police.
That could be heard far and wide. This was a small case and probably the first of its nature. But can you imagine how far worse it can become? I guess we can only ponder for now. Number 22, artificial wombs. Scientists are working hard to create a synthetic uterus for babies, the exact replica of a uterus to keep the babies healthy and alive. But is it a good thing? The thought of artificial wombs looks quite beneficial from the outside, but there are a lot of creepy drawbacks you probably didn't see.
Ectolife allows your baby to develop in an infection-free environment.
Babies that are premature or couples with infertility issues can seek these artificial wombs for their aid. But here's the problem. The technology's scope doesn't end there. Scientists think that they can use these artificial wombs to send babies to space. There could be hundreds of fake babies developing in fake wombs, and the world will have no clue what's going on. It could either lead to pure chaos or not. What do you think? Number 23, robot slaves. There are many robots across many industries, but what do you think about slave robots? These robots will work as your personal assistant, aiding you in each and every task. Whether you are at the office or at home, the robot will be there to take matters into its own hands. Plus, you can customize the robot to your preferences, making the experience delightful. But here's the problem. People fear that this might be the start of the uprising that we all fear. Could it be true, or is it too far-fetched to think that way? Number 24, the power of fusion. Scientists are working hard to create a mini-sun, but the problem is that fusion reactors take up a lot of energy. Recent developments promise that fusion reactors might just give more energy than it consumes. If that works out, there is no stopping the world from getting a reliable energy source. Would you be willing to see that happen? That's all, folks. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. But before you go, which technology are you the most excited about? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.